Hello, in this video I'll be showing you how to crochet scrubby circles. So this is what it looks like. We'll be using scrubby yarn, so it kind of feels like a washcloth, but this is what it looks like. You can make multiple of them and then tie them up with, stack them, and then tie them with ribbon together so that it could be like a gift or something. So the things you'll need are Red Heart Scrubby Cotton yarn, just one ball, a size H 5mm crochet hook, scissors, and a yarn needle. So let's get started. To start off, we're going to take our yarn, then make an X on our finger. This is going to make a magic circle. Then take our crochet hook, then go into the first strand, and then pull the second strand through the first strand, like that. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through. We have just made a magic circle. Then we're going to chain one and then do 6 single crochets into the magic circle. Make sure you do it a little loosely so that the yarn has little chunks of strands in it, so sometimes it'll be hard to pull through the loops if you don't do it loosely. So just do 6 single crochets. Then we're going to pull on the end. So be very careful when you pull it, because if you pull too hard and it won't, and the circle won't close up, then you'll break the end. So be careful and pull on the end. Then once you've pulled on the strand, just slip stitch to the first stitch you made. And chain one. Now we're going to do 2 single crochets into each stitch. So it might be hard to see, but there are little V's that are the tops of each single crochet we made. So in the next V, we're going to do 1 single crochet. 2 single crochets. Like that. Then we're just going to go into the next single crochet and then do the same thing. So repeat doing 2 single crochets into each stitch all the way around until you get to the beginning of your round. You can also use a stitch marker to mark your slip stitch that you do so that you know where the end of the round is. Since this is scrubby yarn, it's kind of hard to see the stitches. So once you've done all 6 of your Once you've gotten to the end of the round, then slip stitch to the first stitch. So I'll just put my stitch marker in the slip stitch I just made. And then we're going to chain one. Now we're going to do one single crochet into the first stitch. By the way, at the end of round 2, you should have 12 stitches. So we're going to do one single crochet in the first stitch, and in the next stitch we're going to do 2 single crochets. So the repeat is one single crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 single crochets into the stitch after that. Repeat this all the way around for a total of 6 times, repeating the repeat. I've gotten to my slip stitch, so I'm going to take off the marker. We're not going to slip stitch to the slip stitch, we're going to slip stitch to the first single crochet we made at the beginning of the round. So we're going to slip stitch to that stitch. Then we can put the stitch marker into our slip stitch. And now we're on to row 4. So we're going to chain 1, then do 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. By the way, whenever we're doing 2 single crochets into the same stitch, this is called an increase. So the repeat is 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, then an increase in the next stitch. At the end of each row, you should always end with an increase, because each repeat for each row ends with an increase. So at the end of the row, we're going to take our stitch marker out, slip stitch to the first stitch, then put our stitch marker into the stitch we just made. And it should be turning out into a flat circle, just like this one. So now we're going to chain 1, then do 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. And then an increase in the next stitch. Repeat this to the end of the row. Once we've done our last increase of the row, we're going to take our stitch marker out, slip stitch to the first stitch of the row, put our stitch marker back into the piece, or put our stitch marker into the slip stitch we just made, then chain 1. Now this is the last row of our scrubby circle. For this row, we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches, and then an increase in the 5th stitch. So that's 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. And then an increase or 2 single crochets into the next stitch. Repeat this to the end of the row. At the end of this row, we're going to take our stitch marker out once and for all. And then slip stitch to the first stitch of the row. Now we're going to finish off. So pull up the loop on your crochet hook. Cut the yarn. Then pull the end through the loop. Then just pull. Now we have our scrubby circle, so all we have to do is sew the ends in the back of the circle and this end that I'm trying to get into my needle. Then we'll be finished. Once you've done that, your scrubby circles are finished, and you can tie them to stack them and then tie them together in a bow with some yarn. Then just tie the bow. And give it as a gift to someone, or you can just leave them as they are and then use them on your face or whatever you want to use them for. But I hope you enjoyed learning how to make these scrubby circles. Enjoy!